Okay, I will do that. Thank you for your input. Yeah, I will get it. Just one moment. Hi, everyone. I have emailed to you all yesterday a comprehensive proposal for your consideration. I have shared that publicly. These people have gathered here today to give their input. They are also the very reason why you, as board members, have your current jobs. Each one of the community members here is affected in different ways by the sudden and rushed March 8th vote. This is why a reconsideration of your vote is the most responsible thing to do now and keeps the community at the center of this decision. Although I always favored keeping our dump prior to March 8th, for many reasons, going into this investigation, I made a deliberate choice to seek the truth, and if the evidence clearly pointed toward the need to close the dump quickly, I would understand. Furthermore, I wouldn't volunteer to speak here today, nor urge the board to reconsider their initial decision. On March 8th, I had heard the dump is closing the end of the month, mere 23 days after board's vote. Your decision was to go with curbside pickup, no recycling, using the same service provider, Republic Services, with which the township has a contract for carrying our waste to the Midland landfill. The contract is binding, per supervisor's words, until February of next year. Conveniently, the supervisor was able to privately negotiate a curbside pickup contract, also with Republic, by making a deal to negotiate the current one in exchange for burdening Lee Township with a new, expensive curbside pickup multi-year contract. To date, after multiple requests in writing and in person, the supervisor hasn't shared the new contract with my team. Consider this timeline of events, if you will. November 20th, 2020, you, newly elected board members, report to your new duties. All have a previous knowledge of the importance of the dump to our residents and are aware that previous attempts of closure had generated very high public interest. 7 days into her role as a supervisor, on November 27th, 2020, the newly elected supervisor sent a 3-page email to the entire board extensively detailing her thoughts and premature conclusions on discovered problems with the dump. Per email, she was approached by, among others, Gary Hicks of Republic Services, who provided her with a long list of concerns with our dump. Many of the concerns were cited as imminently pending serious OSHA and EGLE violations. Now, Gary is not a government agency inspector, yet the supervisor crafted an alarming email to the board, mostly on speculation. Her November 2020 email continued with a statement that the same Gary from Republic Services is already getting her quotes for Republic doing township curbside pickup. She further states in that email that waste transfer stations are becoming obsolete. Then finally, asking her colleagues on the board to, quote, keep this information between the 5 of us, the 5 voting board members, until we have all the information to share with the public. 3 months go by. On March 8th, the supervisor for the first time presented a detailed presentation to the board and the public, and it's the first time we all see it. 3 board members willing to share their versions of events all stated that March 8th was the very first time they saw the completed presentation the supervisor gave. They voted immediately. It's unreasonable for anyone to be expected to fairly and objectively process all that information presented so quickly, let alone vote on it. Initially, I felt for the board members, as the March 8th presentation was so biased and, to an untrained eye, alarming. I found it difficult to blame any of them for voting as they did. However, my perspective significantly changed after discovering the existence of the November 2020 email. I realized that this was intentionally hidden from the public for months. We, the residents, are not idiots, unable to comprehend potential problems involving this township. Why not engage us in communication and allow us to participate in possible solutions? Why not offer us choices in matters that hold high public interest? This community can be a valuable ally to the board if they are honest, no matter what the problem arises. That's the case whether you're a pro-dump or not. We are 4 days away from April 1st target you all approved. Yet so many questions have not been addressed about how curbside would even be implemented. Imagine what this community could have done by now had we also known of the content in the email from November of last year. When my team and I met in person with the supervisor last Sunday, we offered our assistance with getting more information, getting additional quotes, given options to reduce freeloaders using our dump, looking into ways we can organize the community for assistance. We challenged Christy on the seriousness of OSHA and Eagle concerns. She keeps exaggerating and repeating to the public. By the way, I spoke with the Eagle inspector and know that Christy had not even received the final report from the inspector, yet she felt the need to speculate about things at yesterday's board meeting while public is listening. Most of the feedback she provided to us, to our ideas, were immediately negative. Her interest in being a good leader, bridging differences between the board and the community was alarmingly low. I pointed out to her that I can see how getting rid of the dump would significantly reduce her workload immediately, but doing something that's easy and better for her doesn't mean it's best for this community. In her own words, I will summarize the supervisor's black and white type thinking. She suggested I think about the dump as a diabetic child. She asked, would you give your diabetic child a cake? As if the only options available are either immediate death or life. My answer to her was this: I would first find the time to take my child to a doctor for an accurate diagnosis. Once on the correct dose of insulin, I would occasionally give my child a small piece of cake with caution. I ask you today, let's not kill our diabetic child. Let's get it healthy and allow it to possibly live a better life. My plea to the board, please allow for additional time and an independent investigation. Embracing this community will open so many doors to healing the relationships the board has ruptured. Your action of reconsideration would bring this community together. Despite all that's happened, each of you have an opportunity to become a positive example for Lee Township and your colleague board members. You can choose to be a hero to this community by being willing to take reasonable steps to correct your actions. You kept the secret of the plan in the works since November of last year. It's time to come clean. The community will forgive you. Just make the right choice now. March 8th presentation also sadly and childishly ridiculed the fact that so many residents care about this dump. Someone's trash is another person's treasure. Oh, I can't flip a page. Help me. Our treasured trash dump deserves a second look and a second vote because there are no truly valid reasons for immediate action. I hereby propose that the deadline imposed on March 8th be delayed for a minimum of 6 months and closer to February 2020 when the current contract expires. This will allow for options and time to make decisions based on additional information collected from credible sources. As board members, you have a legal option to reverse your decision on Monday, the 29th, coming up. I hope each of you will consider doing that. Don't waste this opportunity you have, not because you are pro-dump or pro-curbside or pro another board member, but because you are pro-Lee Township community. My teammates will elaborate on other aspects of the research we've conducted in the last 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thanks, Yasna. I've sort of already introduced myself. What's that? Okay, 5 minutes. Thank you. And so, as I mentioned, live down along the Chippewa River. And I'm asked a lot of times, are you for the dump or are you against the dump? Are you for roadside pickup or against roadside pickup? What I'm for is whatever's best for the township. And that means it meets the needs of most, and that people are willing to pay for. And so your needs may be different than mine. I happen to live on the long end of a half-mile private drive, and the prospect of hauling trash only to Republic's schedule, and I have to then visit Midland Recycle anyway, where for free I can bring the recycle and all the other specialty things that I need to, is looking more and more attractive, I guess I'd say. But it looks to me like what's at least been voted on to this point would satisfy about 1/3 of the needs, because it's trash only, and it would be about 2/3 of the price, because it's a couple $100 a family instead of, I guess, well, if it's to Midland, it's free, but right. Anyway, it would give me a hassle, and so if you don't recycle and live close to a route, one of the Republic routes, that might be what you're preferred. But I think there's a bigger problem that's being overlooked, and the dump may be a victim of, and probably a distraction from, taking care of that one. The township has historically, at least in the recent history, had a broken budget process, and we can't know the financial numbers with confidence and make even a good dump decision if we're driving blind. So that'll bring about poor decisions, and it'll be about a lot more than just waste services. So what I would like the actions is to not grab the first obvious option. Instead, take a vote to extend the time to decide on a self-run full-service dump or full-service trash station rather than the trash-only pickup versus the other options, many other options that could be investigated, right? And don't put a Band-Aid over a broken budget process. I'd like you to finish the forensic audit that was discontinued and fix what's in the budget process. And I think that can be done concurrently with work on the waste systems. And I'd like that done with resident input, a legitimate survey or vote, compare the options in an unbiased way with vetted numbers, and follow the township bid policy. 2 minutes, thank you. I think the benefits of that would be that we won't have rushed hastily into an irrevocable decision on waste services. And whichever turns out to be the better service should be able to stand the scrutiny of its township people, right? And I think all township functions would improve when the budget works better. And so I think we should have caretaking for the budget priority and prioritizing be number one. So I would say I'm pro-community and looking to build involvement and support. I know you'd be surprised by what we can do if we work together. And it's hard to follow a let 'em eat cake speech. Anyway, that's what I had to say. Thanks for listening. Time? 1 minute?
All right, good morning, everyone. I will paraphrase what I plan to say. Doug Kruger, 1676 West Chippewa River Road. I'm a 40-year resident and a 5th-generation resident. Basically, we are asking for an immediate 6-month pause in the dump closure process in order to allow for proper discovery process, wherein we will have an opportunity to complete a detailed budget review and training by an outside third party to correct any historical errors and train the board in any potential findings to ensure future accuracy. An accurate cost analysis, dump versus curbside, with multiple competitive bids for each by following the Lee Township purchasing policy. Secure potential funding options, whether outside grants or internal township resident opportunities. Create detailed policies and work processes for the dump employees and implement a monthly review by the board members that requires sign-off. Put a secure process in place to ensure non-residents are able to utilize the facility. Many potential options: dump card, key card, driver's license verification. Consult with. Okay.
It's time for questions from the board.
Are there any questions from the board?
I think you guys did a great job giving all the information. And I believe you emailed me your proposal already, so I'm reading it. I like what I see as far as the effort that went into it. You guys did a great job. I got the proposal in my email. I read through it, and I don't have questions at this time, but it shows that you guys put effort in, and I highly appreciate. Precisely, and I will think about it all weekend, and I'm going to think about everything that I hear today. So, but thank you for your effort. I highly appreciate it.
That's all we ask.
Other questions?
I just want to second what Lawrence said. I don't need a mic, everybody heard me. Do I really? Oh my. I said I second what Lawrence said. We really need to think about this and do what is best for the majority of the people, what they want.
Thank you. So if there's no other questions from the board, it looks like, and I'm very careful to make sure that I keep my role as a resident and my role as an unbiased facilitator as separate as I can. It looks next like Ronna Lamblin's group. I think she's working today, and so I think Courtney Clute was going to speak. Oh, hello, Courtney.
I'm here. I'm just
You bet. And yourself, or just others on your team as well?
Hello, can everyone hear me? Okay, so Courtney Clute, and I'm at 1400 West Stewart Road. Rona could not be here today. She was called into work, and then some of our other members like to be quiet. So here I am. Good morning. My name is Courtney. I worked in a group of about 5 other Lee Township households at our core, and our numbers grew from there. First, we would like to thank the other teams for being here today, and to those specific teams or individual members for meeting with some individuals from our group throughout the course of this 2-week period. Thank you to Doug Kruger and team for spearheading this, and to Tom for his role in being a facilitator of sorts on the agenda and rules for this meeting here today. Thank you to Dave Kissinger for lending a helping hand, as well as offering up the space for us today. I have enjoyed